On today's video, we got two new Discotek Media Blu-ray titles with Kamen Rider X and Super Rescue Soulbrain.
It's morphin' time!
Hello, this is Soundout here, and on today's video, we're continuing our ongoing coverage of Discotek Media's Blu-ray releases, especially in the Tokusatsu space. With the July releases I picked up, Kamen Rider X and Super Rescue Soulbrain. Now, there was other July releases for Discotek that I didn't get, but these are the two I was most interested in, and I know those are the ones that you guys are most interested in, because everybody hits the like button on the videos about the Tokusatsu Blu-rays and always subscribes to keep up notifications, and if you don't do that, then you should join now. It's quick and easy. Like button, subscribe, notification bell. You'll never miss out on a future video for the Discotek Media Toku Blu-rays. So we're going to be taking a look at both of these releases. We have another Showa Kamen Rider, and we have another entry in the Metal Hero franchise. And I love that this company has consistently been putting out these shows, pretty much, every other month we've been getting at least a Tokusatsu release. It's been real consistent and real nice, and I'm looking forward to seeing what comes next. But let's focus on what we got in front of us with X and Soulbrain. We'll look at one of them first, and then the other one after that. Which one will it be? Find out soon. Alright, we're starting with Super Rescue Soulbrain. Now, this was one of the Metal Hero series in the Rescue Police trilogy. The first one was Special Rescue Police Winspector, and Soulbrain is a direct sequel to that. They actually reference the Winspector characters, and some of them do show up, as well as the commander carrying forward to Soulbrain. So these are sequels to each other, and there's a third series, Exceed Draft, which I'm sure we will be getting. Now, in terms of continuity, like I said, they're part of the trilogy. Soulbrain does stand alone, but there is, of course, connections to Winspector, so watching it after Winspector probably be the best way to do it. Now, what's interesting as well is that with Winspector, we had one human and two robots. Here we have two humans and one robot. So we're kind of moving the team in different dynamics, which is really awesome. So moving Winspector aside, because we've already reviewed that in the past, Soulbrain, love the cover. I think this is one of my favorite of the covers they've done. Just really dynamic. You've got, of course, their main vehicle. You got the main heroes on the front. On the spine, of course, lead hero there. This is Toku Time release number 15. And on the other side, we've got the other characters. So what's kind of cool is that basically you have your two human characters there. So it's really awesome to have the team together. You can see we got some shots of the characters there looking awesome and having a good time, which is really, really cool. There are some other characters that show up besides these main three, so that is fun as well. I'm talking about all this because I will be honest, I have not seen Soulbrain. I was like, let me talk about these characters, and then realized I don't know any of their names. That is just, I hadn't gotten to watching Soulbrain yet. Kind of at this point, though, because Discotek's been pumping these out so much, I'm looking to watch these shows in order, right? So, like, I'm kind of hoping for Exceed Draft to come out, and then I could just binge through the Rescue Police trilogy. I think that'd be super, super fun. But if we're looking for a description on the show, of course, there is a nice little copy pasta here, or not copy pasta. Spent too much time on the internet. Copy text. With Winspector away on assignment, a new elite rescue force stands up to the ever-rising tide of high-tech crime. Their name, the Super Rescue Soulbrain. Led by the brave Captain Daiki Nishio, the valiant men and women of Soulbrain fight to save lives and hearts. Clad in next-generation battle armor and equipped with the latest in rescue technology, these heroes are ready for any disaster the bad guys can dish out. The Metal Heroes burn up on screen in the spectacular second installment of the Rescue Police series. This complete collection includes all 53 episodes of Soulbrain's action-packed adventures, presented in standard definition in the original Japanese language and English subtitles. Yep, there's no English dub, and there is no HD video source for this. This is once again a standard definition on Blu-ray, which for those that still may not be aware, it is the entire show on one disc, because standard definition video takes up a lot less space than high definition video, so the entire thing can fit on one Blu-ray disc, because Blu-rays are pretty high capacity. No loss in compression, no loss in video or audio quality. It is exactly the best it can be, and that is how it looks on the disc. And of course, we'll take a look at it. But love the cover again, with the characters there looking super awesome. And then behind the disc, we got a nice image. That's the same image, but they do what they can, because Toei does not provide them with many art assets. So yeah, we basically have just like two images repeated 2 times each. Works for me. Quick and simple, nice and easy. It's just really nice to get these shows because, with Kamen Rider, with Super Sentai, with Ultraman, they have a lot of notoriety. Metal Hero's kind of the lesser-known franchise, but still had a long run, and so I'm glad that they're getting new attention and new life here on Blu-ray. So let's take a look at the Soulbrain disc and take a look at its contents. All right, so here's our disc for Soulbrain. Looking really cool. Nice image there. We've got, basic stuff. Play all episodes. Subtitles we turn on or off, which is nice. Episodes broken up into 20 episode chunks, which is kind of interesting. But, basically you go through your menu. Like I said, you can just play all the episodes as we kind of come to expect with the standard definition Blu-rays. There's 20 to 40. You can see Winspector returns, because yes, it does connect to Winspector directly, and then the last batch down here, which is awesome. In addition to that, you do get the series promo, which is like the little spot that would play at the end of the last episode of Winspector saying, oh, next week we're starting Soulbrain, and so that's what this is. It's a 30-second promo, which is a nice bonus. Would have been nice to get anything else, but materials for shows not always available, but it was nice to include that. Because that technically aired on the last episode of Winspector. Let's take a look at that good old video quality. So once again, Discotek always matching their subtitle fonts to the original Japanese versions. Love that. I love the color usage as well, because the color kind of splashes into the Soulbrain logo. So we got that. Looks fantastic. Looks like it's always meant to be there, which I always really love about their releases. So overall picture quality, they're working with the best they can. Visually, more effects shots, like this is a model shot, a little fuzzier, a little grainier. Some of the hanger shots are just really dark and kind of fuzzy. It's just not anything you could be done with it, because it's just the standard definition video of the existence of the show. But shots that are done without visual effects look pretty solid. Still standard definition video, but I think looks pretty good overall. You can see you've got the commander there looking awesome. No real major video hiccups. Again, Discotek's working with what they got to work with, and it works out pretty good. Same thing with the nice bold yellow subtitles. Makes it really easy to read over any background. And even some of the VFX shots look pretty good. I think it just depends on the lighting conditions, just how the show was shot. But also they do have the subtitles for the insert songs up in the corner when they do appear, which I always really appreciate. So yes, Soulbrain is a great presentation. Discotek Media is one of those companies that I have utmost faith in. They really rarely have any issues with their releases, and this is no different. It's really solid. Now, in terms of the overall Metal Hero collection, we're really getting going. There is still a lot more to do, but we have quite a few shows. So we have Gavan, Sharvan, Scheider. That's your Space Sheriff trilogy. That's on nice Blu-ray. Everything else is on SD Blu-ray. So Just Beyond Giban, Jan Person, Winspector, and of course Soulbrain. So we are kind of filling it out. The fun part is because they're not going in exact release order, we don't really have the ability to predict which one will be next, which I think is super, super fun. But there's still plenty of shows to do, and I'm looking forward to seeing what we got. I know Discotek's got a panel at a convention coming up soon, and this was recorded before that, so let me know in the comments if you're coming from the future and know what the next Metal Hero release will be. I'm just excited. Again, it's one of those things where I do want to kind of like binge through some of these shows when I have like them in order, because I like orders. I like watching stuff in order. I've watched Sentai, Ultraman, Kamen Rider all out of order, but I haven't really watched Metal Hero out of order, so kind of like wanting to like continue in order, which would be kind of fun, but especially like the special trilogies like the Rescue Police. But yeah, I'm just really happy with the collection we have so far. I do wish I could get a Just Beyond slipcover that matches the others a little bit, but overall, great stuff. But let's go over to Metal Hero's more famous cousin that modern shows took a lot of elements from Metal Hero, Kamen Rider. So here we have Kamen Rider X. Now, X is a weird show, and I'm going to talk from experience because I've watched every show of Kamen Rider series. I would say I've watched every Kamen Rider show, except I have never been able to finish Faiz, Blade, or Ghost, and I've been saving Kabuto to be like my last Rider show. I just don't like Faiz that much. I started Blade, didn't finish it. Started Ghost, didn't finish it. One day I'll finish these shows, but I've seen every show of Kamen Rider because I do love the heart and soul of Kamen Rider that was born in the 70s. So with Kamen Rider X, this is kind of a weird show for a couple reasons. First of all, it is the third show after the original Kamen Rider, and then you got V3, and then you got X. And V3 was more of a sequel to the original Kamen Rider, even though it had new characters, with Riders 1 and 2 appearing early on. It was meant to be kind of a direct sequel. X starts as a completely standalone thing, and then Tobei Tachibana rolls up, and now it's connected to the other shows. And then later on, there are some other instances of connection. So with Kamen Rider X, it is kind of a weird show as well, because the show starts insanely dark. there's an episode that like kind of horrifies me based on like the subject matter. And then by the end of the show, you're doing goofy things like mixing animals with historical figures. So he's going up against Aunt Capone and Starfish Hitler. So with that said, Kamen Rider X is a bit of a bizarre series. It has a massive tone shift like halfway through. But I will say, you know, there's a lot of tropes in Kamen Rider come from the Showa era that we see in modern day, like, oh, why are there so many evil dads in Heisei Kamen Rider or Reiwa Kamen Rider? Well, X's dad is probably the worst, most evil dad in Kamen Rider. And I say that having watched, again, most of the franchise. So anyways, X coming to Blu-ray, great stuff. It is a shorter series than some of the others. You can see we got his helmet there. This is Toku Time 14. This is only a 35-episode series. Some of the Showa series aren't the consistent, like, 50 episodes. Like, you know, Kamen Rider was 98, V3 was 52, X was 35, Amazon, which would be the next show, is 24, and then Stronger's only 38. So they can kind of be a little bit easier to watch because they do have a little bit of a shorter runtime. I personally, you know, you know, the 50-episode format works for a lot of shows, but some of them I wouldn't mind them only being like 35 episodes. It kind of works out sometimes. But anyways, front cover looks dynamic, fun. You got X on his bike. You got a nice, like, you know, this is kind of like an image from the show. This is more like an artist rendering, which I think was from the Japanese Blu-ray. You got 3 of his main villains back here, like Apollo Geist, which a lot of people recognize from Kamen Rider Decade, where they brought Apollo Geist back, which is important for that. X marks the spot for high-flying action. Yeah, this fun show. It does get some crazy stuff. There's King Dark. King Dark he was also in Kamen Rider Decade. They were like, let's bring all the Kamen Rider X villains back, but not X himself. He didn't return until a movie that came out during Gaim days. Anyways, inside we've got Kamen Rider X Disc 1, episodes 1 to 13. Disc 2 is episodes 14 through 26, and Disc 3 is episodes 27 to 35. It does not contain the movie Five Riders vs. King Dark. I don't really like that movie that much, so it's not like a huge loss, but, you know, none of the movies have been included so far. We do get this image on here, which you have, basically, you have Kamen Rider 1 and V3, Kamen Rider 2. Actually, that's interesting. Yeah, it's Kamen Rider 2, V3, and X, and then the 3 villains in the background. Interesting, because there is a crossover between, you know, Kamen Rider 1, 2, V3, Rider Man, and X, which is actually in the show as well. The previous writers do show up. Interesting, they just put 2 and V3 on the inside. Toei and their art assets, once again, our greatest enemy. But let's take a look at the discs for Kamen Rider X and see how it is quality-wise. All right, here's disc 1 for Kamen Rider X, which looks great. I think the image choice was good, the use of the logo. Once again, play all episode subtitles, you know, straightforward stuff, all things considered. There's, of course, your episodes there. The first 13 on disc 1. Let's take a look at it. This being off Toei's HD Masters, it looks decent. This opening has never looked super crisp for many reasons, including the film quality it was shot on, but this shot is just incredible. I've always loved it. It's a great way to kick off a series. And you can see, once again, that title treatment is done quite well, getting the Kamen Rider part translated because the X part already done. Once again, title card treatment for the episodes themselves, it just looks like it blends together so well. I really am always impressed by it. Now, being shot in the 70s on what I believe is 16mm film, it doesn't look amazing all the time. Some of the nighttime shots are a little crazy. See, told you, evil dad storyline. But this show overall looks pretty good. Let's get to something in a daytime, and I'll show you what I mean. As you can see from this shot here, looks really good. Looks really crisp. It's not going to be perfect because it's just the nature of the film stock they used, but I think it looks really solid. It's definitely a good upgrade over any previous video masters of X that were like in the DVD era. Toei's Blu-ray was pretty solid. Discotek's is a good reflection of that. Here's one of our VFX shots, so you can kind of get an idea. This is from the main henshin for X, so you can kind of see how the VFX shots translate. Those are always a little bit lower quality than the straight camera shots. Look at that explosion of color. It looks really great. It sounds good. Really solid on the video audio presentation. So yes, no surprise, it's the best it's going to look. It's the best it's going to sound. Subtitles are excellent. Nothing too crazy. Now, of course, we have a lot of Kamen Rider Blu-rays from multiple companies. For example, we got the 4 releases from Shout Factory, which are 2 Heisei, 2 Reiwa. We got, you know, Kuga, Ryuki, 01, and Geats. Media Blasters put out the trilogy of Kamen Rider movies from the 90s, and they have the Showa reboot movies are coming out, I think in September, so that's pretty soon. And then Discotek's been hooking us up with the Showa series. So we've got X, V3X, Black, and RX. So this is where we're at currently. with our Kamen Rider, which is great. With Discotek, they're going to keep pushing forward. I'm pretty confident. I'm not going to say 100% certainty because you don't know. They start with Black and RX. Those are kind of standalone shows with a production gap. They're doing V3, they're doing X. I would imagine Amazon Stronger Skyrider Super 1 would be the order. Hopefully they can do a movies collection of some kind. Depends on how Toei is feeling. It does suck we don't have Kamen Rider. Shout did license that and put it on streaming, but we don't have a physical release of it. But hopefully something will work out in the future, because I would like to see that. And Shout hasn't announced or released anything since Geats came out. So that's where we're currently standing with Kamen Rider. It is funny that we had, these two spines very consistent for Black and RX. V3's is a little off, and then X just has like his helmet instead of like a image with a background, but it's fine. I'm not going to worry about it because, we got 3 different companies doing stuff here, so I can't really worry about the specifics. But on that, if you're going to want to get Kamen Rider X, it definitely is worth it for sure because just an excellent release. Show is a little weird. Just fair warning. It starts insanely dark. It gets incredibly goofy by the end, but overall, I do recommend X. It's maybe not as strong as some of the other Showa writers, but it's still a wild time and an unforgettable experience. So both these releases are great, as expected, no problems here. It's just nice to continue to get more Tokusatsu releases on Blu-ray. It's nice to make videos on them. This is always a fun time, and I'm always looking forward to seeing what's next. Like I said, we do have another Media Blasters Kamen Rider movie set coming in September, and Discotek's probably going to announce the next couple releases and when they're coming out very, very soon in the near future. So if you don't want to miss out on future uploads on the channel, be sure to subscribe to the notification bell if you haven't already. Hit that like button if you haven't already to help this video, help the channel, help me know you enjoy this video type stuff. That was a weird turn of phrase. We're just going to go with it. I think you know what I mean. All right, on the other side of things, leave any comments, questions, concerns down below. You can also join our Discord server in the link below to continue the conversation, join our community. You can also join as a channel member and get perks like early access to videos. Let's give some special shout-outs to our channel members. Special shout-out to our channel member Captain Tiers, Spin-54, MasterBen95, Forever1000, Super Shaddix Boom, Mr. Smelly Potato, Jamie's World, Jamie Harper, Mars the Star Droid, Patty, Common Spidey, Liam Peterson, Common Jojo, Mohammed Diop, Josh Frisch, K-Floss, Gokai Gamer, Michael, Koopaman, Doge9789, LFIV, and Match's Dent. Thank you to members and viewers alike for your support of this channel. If you so wish, I'm on social media on Blue Sky and Letterboxd at Soundout12. You can also find a wonderful graphic designer on social media and Discord at DarkClaw643. And you can find Hero Club at hero-club.com for Tokusatsu interviews, news, and more. And until next time, this is Soundout saying goodbye.